How do you make tea? It sounds like a stupid simple question, but really there is a lot going on. First off, we use the word tea as a process, but really tea is describing the tea plant right here, Camellia Sinensis, as well as a couple other species within the genus. Green tea, white tea, black tea, oolong tea, bunch of other different versions. It all comes from the same plant. And this is an example of the green tea leaves. Different processes are used to make black tea versus other ones, fermentations, all kinds of different things that can go into working with it. So when we talk about tea leaves or the tea plant, it really is this. However, we use the word tea to describe anything like this. And this is the most common way we see it, a tea bag in hot liquid, and then you can drink the liquid. But this actually is not real tea leaves here. This is some other herbs. What this is known more correctly is as an infusion, because you are infusing the herbs into water, in this case hot water, but it could be other liquids as well. And there are a couple different ways. Of course, the tea bag is something that is simple and convenient. One thing to note with this is just how much herb is in there. Now, there are ways of, well, you could use multiple tea bags, but also if you're doing something like a loose leaf tea, like we have right here, you can use quantities much larger than what you get in a tea bag, which if you're looking for more benefits, sometimes just a tea bag is not enough herb to really give you a lot of benefit. So we have tea like this. Same thing, these are both infusions. One's just loose leaf, one is in a tea bag. Or an other herb bag, if you will. Of course, all different sorts of devices that can be used for infusers. Real simple, you throw whatever herbs, your loose leaf tea or other herbs into this, pour in hot water, then let it sit. And the time really depends on the herbs. For something like green tea, you want 2 to 4 minutes. You don't want to go too long. For other herbs, you can do much longer times. And that brings us into our other form of tea, which instead of an infusion is a decoction. So I have over here is some mushrooms. And what I could do is take these mushrooms, I throw them in here, I throw the water in, and I let this boil over time. Or it can be at a lower temperature. But a decoction is when you are cooking an herb over the heat rather than just heated liquid poured over the thing. So that is the difference between an infusion and a decoction. And in the end, they could all be called teas. Now, one other method that you can use, we have a lot of already extracted herbs at Lost Empire Herbs, right? So you don't necessarily need to steep anything. If you just pour hot water in, I can take something like Schizandra here. I can pour that in. Now, some of these herbs are more soluble in water than other ones. Don't get too much here. Other herbs are less so. And I'm going to throw in some reishi as well. So a good reishi Schizandra tea, although tea nor infusion really would be the proper terms to describe these. But that's what we're going to use because tea is used in multiple different ways. Oftentimes if the herbs do not dissolve, you can also just stir it up. And you may still have some clumpiness depending on the herb, but overall you'll have some dissolution in there. And this would be similar to if you were to infuse Schizandra and reishi. Really, reishi would typically be used as a decoction, and then you would just get the water-soluble components, whereas here we have a 16-to-1 dual extracted, so everything gets put into that. So a whole bunch of different words and ways to make tea and different things you may want to do. It's important to realize that sometimes you want to do an infusion, sometimes a decoction. Tea really only refers to the tea leaf, but it also refers to other things, so it can be a little bit confusing. I hope this video has helped you to understand the world of tea and the different ways of using herbs a little bit more. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments below. And of course, you can pick up many of these great herbs. We have gynostemma and green loose leaf tea, as well as many of our other herbs like the Schizandra and reishi over at lostempireherbs.com. So go check it out and start drinking some more herbal tea.